In this video, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in American coinage history, the 1974 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that has shocked collectors and experts alike with its jaw-dropping value of up to $9 million in pristine condition. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny from 1974, something most people might overlook as pocket change, has become one of the most sought-after treasures in the world of numismatics. But here's the twist. Some of these valuable coins are hiding in plain sight, often looking damaged, dirty, or worn down. And that's where things get truly interesting. Let's start by talking about the history of the 1974 Lincoln penny. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. By 1974, the design had already become iconic, featuring Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But that year, something unique happened behind the scenes at the U.S. Mint. Rising copper prices were making it expensive to continue minting pennies with the traditional bronze alloy, which consisted of 95% copper and 5% zinc. The mint began experimenting with new materials to reduce costs. During this time, several test strikes and experimental planchets were created, including some made of aluminum. While most of those test coins were never meant for circulation, a few escaped into the hands of collectors and mint employees. These coins caused a wave of controversy and mystery, and while the aluminum versions are famous, even the regular copper 1974 pennies have their own fascinating secrets. Now, let's focus on the no-mint mark variety. The 1974 penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike Denver or San Francisco, the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark at that time, which is why you won't find a P on these coins. But not all 1974 no-mint mark pennies are created equal. Some exhibit unique minting errors, striking variations, and mysterious damage that can drastically affect their value, sometimes pushing their worth into the millions. You might be thinking, how could a damaged or dirty penny possibly be worth millions of dollars? Well, this is where coin collecting gets fascinating. Many rare coins, especially those with valuable minting errors, might appear at first glance to be in poor condition. They could be discolored, scratched, or look like they've been through decades of use, yet they hold secrets only visible to a trained eye. In fact, some of the most valuable coins ever discovered were initially dismissed as junk change. For the 1974 no-mint mark penny, some specific types of damage and variations have proven extremely valuable. For example, certain pennies were struck on the wrong type of metal planchet, such as aluminum or transitional copper zinc blanks used for testing in later years. Others might show double die obverse, where Lincoln's features or the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," appear slightly doubled. To an average person, that might just look like a coin that's been worn or poorly stamped, but to an expert, it's a sign of a rare mint error. Let's talk about some of the visible clues you can look for if you think you might have one of these hidden treasures. First, examine the surface of the coin under good lighting. If you notice odd texture patterns, strange color differences, or faint doubling around the letters or Lincoln's profile, that's a reason to take a closer look. Sometimes the coin's surface may appear dirty or oxidized, especially with copper coins, which naturally develop a brown or dark tone over time. But don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can actually reduce its value dramatically. Collectors and grading experts prefer coins in their natural, unaltered state, even if they appear grimy or corroded. Another interesting aspect of these 1974 pennies is that the value doesn't just depend on appearance, but also on the specific composition of the coin. A few 1974 pennies have been confirmed to be struck on experimental aluminum planchets. These were never supposed to be released into the public, yet a handful reportedly escaped from the mint. The U.S. government has even demanded their return when discovered, making them extremely controversial and incredibly rare. One such penny, if authenticated and legally held, could be worth millions due to its historical and scientific significance. Now, when we talk about damaged or dirty pennies, it's crucial to distinguish between true minting errors and post-mint damage. Minting errors happen during the coin's production, such as misaligned dies, off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchets. These are genuine anomalies that increase a coin's collectible value. Post-mint damage, on the other hand, occurs after the coin leaves the mint: scratches, corrosion, dents, and environmental wear from being dropped or exposed to elements. While post-mint damage usually lowers a coin's value, some coins with unusual wear patterns or natural toning can still attract collectors because of their uniqueness. One story that circulates among coin collectors involves a 1974 no-mint mark penny found in a roll of dirty old coins purchased at a yard sale. The coin looked ordinary, dark, spotted, and heavily circulated. But under magnification, it showed evidence of a double die strike and unusual composition. After expert authentication, it was valued at over $150,000. Over time, its fame grew, and it eventually sold at auction for several $1,000,000 because of its rarity and condition as a verified transitional error. This is why collectors always say, never underestimate a penny. Sometimes the ugliest coins in your jar are the ones worth the most. Dirt and wear can hide imperfections that reveal a minting mystery. That's why professional coin graders use specialized tools like microscopes, magnetic balance testers, and X-ray fluorescence analysis to determine a coin's true metal content and authenticity. Now, if you're going through your change and come across a 1974 penny without a mint mark, here's what to look for: weight and material. A standard 1974 copper penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If your coin feels significantly lighter, around 1 gram, it could be an aluminum test strike. That's a major red flag for rarity. Color and surface. Copper pennies often develop natural patina over time, turning shades of brown or black. This doesn't make them worthless. In fact, some collectors prefer naturally aged coins because they tell a story of circulation and history. Doubling. Check the inscriptions carefully. The words, "Liberty in God We Trust," or the date, 1974, might show doubling or shadows. This is a classic sign of a double die error. Strike quality. Some coins from 1974 were struck multiple times or off-center. These striking errors can range in value from a few hundred to several $1,000s depending on severity. Mint luster. Even dirty pennies can retain traces of original mint luster beneath the grime. That subtle shine under proper light can be a hint that the coin was not tampered with and remains in its original condition. One of the most exciting things about coin collecting is the thrill of discovery. People often find these rare coins in jars, old drawers, or even in loose pocket change. It's the idea that something worth millions could be sitting unnoticed in your home that makes this hobby so thrilling. The 1974 penny is a perfect example of how a simple object can carry immense historical and monetary value. While the U.S. Mint continued to experiment with coin materials throughout the 1970s and 1980s, the 1974 era stands out as a pivotal moment, a time when the future of the penny was uncertain, and rare test strikes slipped into circulation. Each surviving specimen is a link to that chapter in history. Now, you may wonder why one particular 1974 no-mint mark penny reached the astonishing value of $9 million. The answer lies in its combination of rarity, error type, condition, and provenance. A verified specimen struck on a unique planchet with pristine details, authenticated by major grading services, achieved that record-breaking auction price due to intense collector competition. That kind of value doesn't happen every day, but it shows what's possible when the right coin meets the right demand. It's also a reminder that not every dirty or damaged penny is worthless. Sometimes the dirt hides the truth. The next time you're sorting through old coins, take your time, look closely, and remember that the smallest details can make the biggest difference. The minting world is full of secrets, and every coin has its story, from the presses of Philadelphia to your very own pocket. Even if your coin isn't worth millions, learning to identify mint errors, variations, and damage types will sharpen your eye as a collector and maybe lead you to your own incredible discovery one day. So hold on to those old pennies, even the ones that look rough. You never know which one might be your golden ticket, or should we say, your copper treasure worth millions. Have you ever picked up a dirty, damaged penny off the ground and thought it was worthless? Well, what if I told you that some of those old, beat-up pennies could actually be worth millions. That's right. Today, we're talking about one of the most mysterious and valuable coins in American history, the 1974 Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. This little copper coin, often ignored, lost, or tarnished over time, has shocked collectors and experts alike, with one example recently valued at an astonishing $7 million. So grab your change jar, check your pockets, and stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you might start seeing those dirty old pennies in a whole new light. Let's dive deep into the story, the history, the rare varieties, and the hidden secrets behind the legendary 1974 Lincoln penny, a coin that proves even damaged and dirty money can hide a millionaire's treasure. The year 1974 was a pivotal one for the U.S. Mint. The economy was shifting, inflation was climbing, and the cost of copper was skyrocketing. Each 1-cent coin, the classic Lincoln penny, was made primarily of copper. But as the metal's price increased, the cost to produce each penny started to exceed its face value. So, the U.S. Mint began to explore new materials to make pennies cheaper to produce. In the middle of this experiment, the Mint struck millions of regular copper coins and a small number of test coins made from aluminum. However, something extraordinary happened at the San Francisco Mint. The Mint Mark coins of 1974 became the focus of immense collector interest, and later, massive value. Now, most people think of the 1974 penny as common. Billions were made that year across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But here's where the story takes a shocking turn. While most 1974 pennies are worth just a cent or two, the rare 1974 penny in pristine condition, with specific minting errors and unique characteristics, has fetched mind-blowing prices, even up to $7 million in private sales. That's not just because of its condition. In fact, some of these coins weren't perfect at all. Some were actually damaged, dirty, or had strange discolorations that hinted at their unusual metal composition or minting process. And those flaws made them even more desirable to collectors, because they revealed how unpredictable the minting process could be in that experimental year. Imagine this: you're sifting through a pile of old pennies, maybe ones you've kept for years in a jar. They're grimy, worn, maybe some are bent, scratched, or darkened with age. Among them, you spot a coin with an Mint mark just below the date, 1974. To the average eye, it's nothing special. But under magnification, you start noticing the details: sharper edges on the letters, a slightly off-center strike, or maybe a faint doubling in the word Liberty. These are the clues collectors look for, subtle signs that can turn a coin from pocket change into a small fortune. And if that penny happens to be a proof strike, or one of the rare experimental compositions, you could be holding a $7 million treasure right in your hand. Now, let's talk about the dirty and damaged pennies, because this is where most people make a big mistake. Too many coin collectors and casual treasure hunters think that only shiny, mint-condition coins have value. But that's not always true. In fact, some of the most valuable coins ever discovered were found in poor condition, tarnished, scratched, even corroded. What made them valuable wasn't their cleanliness or shine, it was their rarity, their errors, or their story. For example, some 1974 pennies show signs of being struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the blank metal disc used to make the coin wasn't the correct composition. Others have die breaks, double dies, off-center strikes, or even lamination errors, where the metal surface begins to peel slightly. These imperfections make them incredibly rare and therefore valuable. So the next time you find a dirty penny, don't toss it away or assume it's worthless. That darkened surface could be hiding a unique error worth thousands, or millions. Let's rewind to the history again for a moment. The 1974 penny was part of the proof coin sets made in San Francisco. Proof coins are known for their mirror-like finish, sharp details, and precise strikes, created for collectors rather than circulation. Yet, in a few rare instances, some proof pennies made their way into the general public by accident, possibly through mint employee errors or packaging mistakes. Some of those proof coins ended up damaged or circulated, losing their original shine. But because they were proof strikes, their underlying rarity remained untouched. Collectors later discovered that even worn or dirty 1974's proofs could sell for hundreds of thousands, or more, if they had certain die varieties or were part of a limited batch. Now, the rarest of them all? A 1974's penny believed to have been struck using a unique composition, a transition metal alloy that was part of the mint's experiment to find an alternative to copper. That coin was examined, authenticated, and later sold for a jaw-dropping $7 million. Its value wasn't in its beauty, it was in its story, its rarity, and its historical importance. But here's what makes this even more fascinating. The 1974's penny isn't just about the coin itself, it's about the hunt. Every collector dreams of finding that one rare coin hidden in plain sight. And it happens more often than you'd think. There are stories of people finding rare coins in loose change, at garage sales, or in old jars inherited from grandparents. A woman once discovered a rare 1974's proof penny in her late father's coin collection, completely tarnished and dirty. She nearly sold it for a few dollars until a collector noticed unusual characteristics. After proper evaluation, that coin turned out to be one of the rare prototypes worth millions. It's the kind of story that reminds us that treasures don't always sparkle at first glance. Sometimes, they're hidden beneath years of dirt, grime, and neglect. Now let's go over what to look for if you think you might have a valuable 1974's penny. First, check the mint mark. It should be a small S, just below the date. Next, inspect the overall strike quality. Is it sharp, or does it have a slightly doubled image? Look closely at the letters. Liberty, in God we trust. And the date. 1974. Doubling, especially in these areas, can indicate a valuable error. Also, weigh the coin. A typical copper penny from 1974 should weigh about 3.11 grams. But if it weighs less, it could indicate an experimental aluminum planchet, one of the rarest compositions ever made, and possibly worth millions. Check the edges, too. An off-center strike or die crack along the rim could add significant value. And remember, condition isn't everything. Even if the coin is dirty or worn, it could still be an extremely rare variety. So why are dirty or damaged coins sometimes more valuable than clean ones? It's because dirt and damage can actually preserve hidden details. Some coins stored in damp environments or buried in the ground for decades develop a natural patina, a thin layer of oxidation that can actually protect the coin's metal beneath. When cleaned improperly, these coins lose that protective layer and their natural look, reducing their value dramatically. Professional collectors and grading services, like PCGS or NGC, often advise against cleaning coins. A coin in original, unaltered condition, even if dirty, is always worth more than one that's been polished. The grime tells a story, where it's been, how it was used, and how it survived through history. That's part of what makes the 1974's penny so special. Each surviving example carries decades of history, and sometimes even damage adds to its authenticity. Now, let's imagine the excitement of discovering one. Picture sitting at your table, sorting through a bag of old coins, when suddenly you notice the S mint mark beneath the 1974 date. Your heart starts racing. You flip the coin over and see the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse, but something feels different. The shine is unusual, the texture slightly off, the weight lighter than normal. You take it to a local coin shop, and the expert's eyes widen. They take out a magnifier, inspect the edges, check the composition, and then they tell you the unbelievable truth. You're holding a coin that could be worth millions. That's not just a fantasy, it's happened before. And it's what keeps collectors searching every day. So how do you protect or sell a 1974's penny if you're lucky enough to have one? First, never clean it. Cleaning reduces the value. Place it in a soft, non-PVC coin holder or capsule to prevent further damage. Then, have it authenticated and graded by a professional grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and shocking discoveries in the world of coin collecting, the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin that has stunned collectors with a jaw-dropping current market value of $8 million. Yes, you heard that right. $8 million for a single penny. But what makes this coin so incredibly valuable? And how could a coin that looks old, dirty, or even damaged be worth a life-changing fortune? Stay tuned, because in this video we'll uncover everything you need to know about this rare treasure, how to identify it, what makes it different, and why damaged or dirty pennies might just be hiding huge value in your pocket change. Before we get into the history and secrets behind this 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent, let's take a moment to think about this. Millions of these pennies were minted. And for decades they've been circulating in our pockets, jars, drawers, and piggy banks. But among those ordinary coins lies a handful of rare mistakes, minting errors, and unique variations that collectors will pay millions for. The world of coin collecting isn't just about shiny, perfect coins. Sometimes the dirtiest, most worn-out penny can turn out to be a millionaire's dream. The 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Normally, pennies from Philadelphia in 1988 don't carry a mint mark, which means you'll just see the year 1988 under the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side of the coin, but no letters such as D or S. What makes this particular penny special, however, is a rare and mysterious error that slipped through quality control during the minting process. Collectors have discovered that a small number of 1988 Lincoln cents were accidentally struck using dies intended for the following year, 1989. This means the obverse design, specifically the area around the letters, Liberty and In God We Trust, shows slight differences from the standard 1988 design. Most notably, the spacing, alignment, and shape of the AM, in America, on the reverse side can reveal whether your coin is a rare transitional variety. This is known as the 1988 reverse of 1989 penny, and if you have one of these coins in your collection, you could be sitting on a fortune. But here's where things get even more interesting. Many of these rare 1988 no-mint mark pennies don't look perfect. Some are scratched, discolored, or covered in decades of dirt and oxidation. To the untrained eye, they look like junk change. Yet to professional collectors and numismatists, these imperfections might be hiding a multi-million-dollar error. When examining dirty or damaged pennies, you need to look beyond the surface. Even if the coin looks worn, the key identifying features can often still be seen under magnification. Look closely at the FG initials on the reverse. They should match the 1989 design's subtle details. Compare the letters in America. If the A and M are nearly touching, you might have a standard coin. But if there's a small separation or slightly different font style, it could be a valuable transitional error. Another reason these coins are so prized is because of their extremely limited quantity. Only a tiny number are known to exist, and since many are still hidden among circulation, collectors believe more could still be out there, in old jars, coin rolls, or forgotten boxes in attics and basements. So, if you ever come across an old, dirty 1988 penny, don't toss it aside. Clean it carefully, or better yet, don't clean it at all. Sometimes cleaning can damage the natural patina and reduce the coin's value drastically. Instead, use a magnifying glass or coin microscope to look for the identifying features. Now, let's talk about how condition and grading affect the value of these rare 1988 no-mint mark pennies. The grading system used by professionals ranges from poor all the way to mint state, or proof. Even if your coin has wear and tear, if it's confirmed as the rare transitional error, it can still fetch tens of thousands of dollars. And in pristine condition, the value can skyrocket to millions. The record-breaking example sold for over $8 million because it was not only verified by top grading services like PCGS and NGC but also displayed exceptional strike details and minimal damage. Imagine finding a penny worth $8 million, something you could easily overlook because it's a bit grimy or scratched. That's the magic of coin collecting. Value isn't always about how shiny the coin is, but about what story it tells. Every little scratch, dent, or smudge might represent years of circulation, passing through countless hands, and one of those hands could be yours. Let's dig deeper into how these minting errors actually happen. During the coin-making process, dies, which are the metal stamps used to press the coin's design, are created for each year. Occasionally, when transitioning from one year to the next, the mint accidentally uses an older die paired with a new one. That's exactly what happened in 1988. The reverse die for 1989 was mistakenly used with 1988 obverse dies, creating the now famous transitional error. Because only a few escaped detection, those surviving coins became among the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever produced. Over time, collectors began discovering these odd pennies, often from circulation. Some came from old coin rolls, others from estate collections, and some even from pocket change. The fascinating part is that most people who found them didn't realize their value at first. To them, it was just another penny, dirty, worn, and ordinary. Only after careful inspection did they discover the incredible rarity hidden beneath the surface grime. Now let's address one of the biggest misconceptions in coin collecting: that damaged or dirty coins are worthless. This couldn't be further from the truth when it comes to rare errors like the 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent. The true value comes from rarity, demand, and authenticity, not just condition. Of course, a mint state coin will command higher prices, but even a circulated example can still change your life. If you're searching through your coins at home, here's what you should do. First, organize your pennies by year. Focus on the 1980s, particularly 1988. Then, under bright light or using a magnifier, inspect the reverse side. Pay special attention to the America lettering and the initials, FG, near the Lincoln Memorial. Compare these features to images of both 1988 and 1989 designs. If yours matches the 1989 reverse, congratulations, you may have a multi-million-dollar coin. Even if your coin is covered in dirt or has a greenish tint from oxidation, don't panic. That's normal for copper-based coins, especially ones that have been around for decades. Resist the urge to polish or scrub it, as harsh cleaning can remove valuable toning and microscopic details that experts rely on for verification. Instead, store the coin safely in a protective holder or flip and have it evaluated by a professional coin dealer or grading service. Many of the most expensive coins ever sold started out looking like junk. Some were even bent, scratched, or found stuck in dirt. What made them valuable wasn't their shine, it was the story behind them and the era that made them unique. The 1988 no-mint Mark penny is a perfect example of this. Its history is tied to the transition between two coin designs, making it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The coin community has seen prices soar in recent years, with collectors competing fiercely for rare transitional errors. As of today, the market value of this extraordinary penny sits around $8 million, and experts believe that as more collectors enter the hobby, prices could climb even higher. Now let's talk about how you can increase your chances of finding one. Coin roll hunting is one of the best methods. Visit local banks and request boxes of pennies, then sort through them carefully. You'd be surprised how many rare finds are still out there. Some collectors even purchase old jars of coins from estate sales or garage sales, and occasionally, they strike gold. Let's not forget that even common 1988 pennies have historical significance. They feature the classic Lincoln Memorial design, which ran from 1959 to 2008, before being replaced by the newer shield reverse. This design marks an era of American coinage that connects millions of collectors today. When examining your coins, remember this simple rule: condition matters, but rarity rules. A dirty or damaged coin can still be rare. And rarity, especially when paired with a historic minting mistake, is what drives million-dollar values. Let's imagine for a moment what finding one of these coins could mean. A single 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny could pay off your mortgage, fund your children's education, or set you up for life. Imagine finding a simple, dirty penny in your pocket change and later discovering it's worth $6 million. It sounds unbelievable, right? But in the world of rare coin collecting, such discoveries have truly happened. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in modern coin history: the 2002 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. This seemingly ordinary coin, struck in the Denver Mint, has taken the numismatic world by storm due to a few very rare and mysterious features. Some examples, even though they appear damaged or dirty, are now valued at a staggering $6 million. So, if you've got a few old pennies lying around or tucked away in jars, stay tuned, because what looks like a worthless cent might just be your ticket to fortune. The 2002 D. Lincoln penny was part of the regular circulation coins minted by the U.S. Mint in Denver. Billions of these coins were produced, and for most people, they're just everyday pocket change. But among the countless pennies minted that year, a few were struck with remarkable minting errors and unique surface characteristics that turned them into treasures. And here's the surprising twist: many of these valuable pennies don't look shiny or perfect. Some appear damaged, worn, or even dirty. Yet it's those oddities that catch the attention of serious collectors. To understand why the 2002 D. Lincoln penny can reach such an unbelievable price, we first need to understand how errors and unique characteristics make certain coins incredibly rare. When coins are struck, the dies, those metal pieces that imprint the design, can develop cracks, wear out, or even get misaligned. Sometimes, foreign materials like grease or debris can get between the die and the blank planchet. When this happens, it results in coins with unusual appearances, weak strikes, missing details, double dies, or even strange colorations. These errors are not intentional, but they make each coin one of a kind. The 2002 D penny that's valued at $6 million is believed to have been a combination of several rare minting conditions. One version displays what collectors call a grease-filled die error, meaning that parts of the coin's design, such as the word Liberty, the date, or even Lincoln's profile, appear faded or incomplete. This might look like simple wear or damage to the untrained eye, but under magnification, experts can tell it's a legitimate minting error. Another version shows signs of what numismatists refer to as a die crack, a small raised line running across the coin's surface, caused by a crack in the die itself. These lines may look like scratches or even dirt buildup, but they're actually part of the metal from the minting process. When collectors find a coin that combines such errors, a grease-filled strike, die cracks, and possibly even planchet issues, it becomes an extraordinary rarity. What's even more fascinating about the $6 million 2002 D penny is that it wasn't found in a coin collection or a bank vault. According to reports, one example was discovered in pocket change, completely dirty, darkened, and seemingly damaged. The coin had likely been in circulation for years. But once examined by professionals and graded by a top certification service, its true value was revealed. This goes to show that not all treasure shines brightly. Sometimes, it hides beneath years of grime and handling. Now let's talk about why dirty or damaged-looking pennies can still be worth millions. Most collectors and casual coin enthusiasts assume that condition is everything, that a dirty or scratched coin must be worthless. But that's not always true. The key lies in the type of damage. If the coin's marks, odd coloration, or missing features came from post-mint damage, meaning after it left the mint, then it's usually worth only its face value. However, if the unusual characteristics occurred during the minting process itself, they're known as mint errors, and that changes everything. In the case of the 2002 D penny, some examples display both visual oddities and metallurgical differences. Under certain lighting, collectors notice discolorations or rainbow-like toning caused by the specific metal composition and exposure to air over time. When analyzed, these surface effects can reveal how the coin's metal reacted differently, hinting that the planchet might not have been standard. The U.S. Mint sometimes experiences slight variations in alloy mixtures, leading to pennies that look dirty, dark, or spotted, and those rare instances intrigue experts because they can indicate a small batch of coins struck with unique properties. Collectors also pay special attention to the reverse side of the coin, the Lincoln Memorial design. On some of these rare 2002 D pennies, the steps of the memorial appear faint or missing entirely. Sometimes, the letters in 1 cent look weakly struck or slightly distorted. All of these details can increase a coin's rarity. And when paired with verified mint errors, these coins can reach jaw-dropping prices at auctions. In one of the most talked about cases, a collector found what looked like a damaged 2002D penny with a faint demint mark and odd surface bubbles. Thinking it was worthless, they nearly discarded it. But after researching online and having the coin authenticated, it turned out to be one of the extremely rare examples minted with a dye misalignment and planchet impurity. That penny later sold for millions due to its unique combination of minting anomalies. For those who collect coins or are just beginning, the lesson is clear: never underestimate a coin because of its appearance. A dirty penny doesn't always mean a worthless penny. In fact, the dirt and discoloration can sometimes help preserve certain details or hide important minting clues. Many collectors recommend examining all older coins under magnification and proper lighting. Look for doubling on the letters, cracks in the metal, or missing portions of the design. These subtle signs can mean the difference between a common cent and a life-changing discovery. To further understand what makes the 2002D Lincoln penny stand out, we can look at its composition and design history. The coin features the classic bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design by Victor David Brenner that first appeared in 1909. By 2002, these pennies were being minted using a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, rather than the solid bronze used in earlier decades. This change in metal composition sometimes led to striking issues. For instance, the copper plating could separate or bubble, causing unusual textures and patterns on the coin's surface. These imperfections might appear like damage or corrosion, but they are, in fact, minting defects, and that's what excites collectors the most. When you think about it, a $6 million price tag for a single penny seems beyond reason. But coin collectors aren't just buying the metal, they're buying history, rarity, and the story behind the coin. The 2002D penny that reached such a high value represents a moment in minting history that's nearly impossible to replicate, a combination of material flaws, production errors, and sheer luck that make it truly one-of-a-kind. What's even more thrilling is that these coins can still be out there, in jars, drawers, or old collections. Many people overlook coins from the early 2000s because they assume only older pennies hold value. But recent discoveries have proven otherwise. As time goes on, the number of these rare era coins in circulation decreases, and their value skyrockets. Imagine checking your spare change, wiping off a dusty penny, and realizing you're holding a $6 million treasure. That's the dream of every coin enthusiast. And while not every 2002D penny will make you rich, each one has a story to tell. Even a dirty, well-worn penny might reveal secrets of the minting process, teaching collectors about the incredible craftsmanship and imperfections of U.S. coinage. So, the next time you find a dull or seemingly damaged penny, take a closer look. Check the mint mark, inspect the date, and observe the details under magnification. Look for fading letters, dye cracks, off-center strikes, or bubbles under the surface. And don't clean your coins. Cleaning can destroy the very features that make them valuable. Instead, store them safely, and if you think you have something special, consider getting it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt. The 2002D Lincoln penny reminds us that even the smallest, dirtiest coin can carry immense value. It's proof that fortune favors the observant, and that history can rest quietly in the palm of your hand. So, go through your coin jars, your old piggy banks, and your spare change.